I almost called Separation. I was waiting for a prompt to write a poem about a song or music or something, and I thought of uh, pieces for the left hand. I was listening to music for the left hand, and most notably Ravel's symphony that was commissioned by Paul Wittgenstein, the older brother of the famous philosopher. But I started thinking about, my own deficiencies, and then it kind of, ended up there. Separation. To be Gemini, it's hard enough. Like I'm the brother I never had. The dark side of a new moon. The body divided among constituents. And together my eyes never danced either. And my left ear a silent void. Feels like the world is just off stage, holding cue cards backwards. Sharing jokes I don't or shouldn't laugh at. Playing pieces for the left hand in cynical stereo. Wittgenstein's, they said, was pretty fly for a one-armed guy. A fellow with the stones to tell Ravel the notes he wrote didn't smell so well. Never a whore for another score. Peddling uncommon chords, was he ever then his brother's brother? So yeah, I start saying, like as a Gemini, I'm like my own twin. And then I start thinking about Wittgenstein and his brother. I don't know philosophy, really enough. So the question at the end is really a true question. Was he his brother's brother? I don't know enough about the philosophy to know. But this is funny with the story. Wittgenstein, they came from a very wealthy family, and so Paul was an up-and-coming concert pianist, and but he got conscripted into the army in World War I, and he was on the Polish front, and he got shot in his shoulder on a reconnaissance mission, and he he had to have the right arm amputated, but he had the means to commission, the famous composers, the popular composers of the day, to write pieces for the left hand. And the most famous one was Ravel, the symphony that Ravel wrote for him. And it's interesting in many ways because there was a conflict, because he didn't care. He loved the symphony, but he didn't like everything about it, so he made some changes. Ravel didn't come to the opening night, so he wasn't aware of it. That he wasn't aware that Wittgenstein had changed some of the notes. So when he did come at the end of that first month, he was unhappy, and he says to Wittgenstein, "That's not it at all." And the Wittgenstein says, "I'm a concert pianist, and it doesn't sound well." And Ravel says, "I'm a veteran orchestrator, and it does sound well." And Wittgenstein says, "Interpreters do not have to be slaves." And Ravel says, "Interpreters are slaves." So this is 1920s, early 1920s, and classical music, etc. The composer expects it to be played as he wrote it, right? And things have changed so much since then. People are expected to put their own mark on things, but look how music has changed in popular music, starting with jazz and blues and so forth. And you expect things not to be written. You expect improvisation. But with Wittgenstein, it wasn't improvisation. He just changed some of the notes. He changed the score. But I find it interesting today, you know, in light of, you know, copyright infringement and AI and all the stuff that's going on now. You know, this is a kind of early days, you know, for these kind of conflicts. Right? So there you go, separation.